Hi, everybody, and welcome back on the new interview of the Let's Connect show. And then my purpose with these interviews is really to introduce you to my people, I have to say, the people that I like, the people that I know, the people that I have a relationship with, and people that I know that will work with me. And the purpose is also to network and to help others. So every week I bring an expert with a specific expertise. And today I'm very happy to bring Reid, who is the CEO and founder of Savvy Entrepreneur.com. And we know each other for a very long time. We go back very long time when I used to live in New York. So Carl, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me share today.
You're welcome. So as I say, we know each other for many, many years now, since the beginning that when I moved to New York about 17 years ago. And what I like with you is that you're here to network with people. You're really here to help people to with networking. And of course, you have the business and you will tell us more about your business, but you're here to help first. And you actually wrote a book on networking. So can you let us know a little bit about the book first, and then we'll see about the business?
Yes, the name of the book is called 10 Powerful Networking Tips Using Social Media. One of the things I'm proud of is the fact that, I got a lot of support from people like yourself. I appreciate your input with helping me write the book. But it was a labor of love, I have to say. I'm a student of networking. As long as I've been networking in the business arena for over 35 years, it's always about, adding value. And so when I started the book, I noticed that people were having a hard time, when we meet in person and we do the in-person networking, people having a hard time kind of bringing that into the social media arena. How do you do that? So that was the purpose of it, to be able to teach people etiquette approaches that works basically the same way as we normally do when we do in person. But who would know what was going to happen at the beginning of the beginning of the year when things change, and people now more than ever are forced to do more social media networking. So I couldn't have planned it that way, but certainly glad to be able to show people techniques. It's basically with social media, it's about starting a conversation. And I remember how you and I started. We was in person, and we happened to be sitting at similar tables there, and we started a conversation, and we've been having that conversation, I think, for over 20 years now. So I'm been able to, the book is really more of a reference guide. If you want to learn how to use LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram or even Zoom, the book kind of, you just go to those chapters and you read, be able to read that and get references in terms of how do you, even our something as simple as our cell phone, there's a chapter on that I call it the social media communication hub, because it is the place where our traffic information comes back and forth. Something as simple as an incoming message or leaving an outgoing message, that's something that people have to be, that's part of their brand. And when they network with people, they have to add value just with something simple as that, doing those kinds of things. So that's.
And I had the pleasure to be one of the first one who read the book before you publish it, because you let me write the foreword of the book. So I was very proud of that.
Thank you so much for that.
And also the networking, because, I wrote a book also a few years ago called Stop Pitching and Start Networking, because a lot of people confuse networking and selling. And I noticed that the people who really know how to network and don't try to push to sell, they have a better relationship. As you say, we have a relationship for 17 years now. And even if we haven't seen each other for years, for sure, since I leave New York. But there is always some time we connect with each other, we exchange, we refer people and that kind of, so we have a much better relationship, because
exactly.
It's solid at the very beginning. So it's very important for people to understand that, stop trying to push the sales. And I think that today, and I learned a lot of things and a lot of information, and also on WhatsApp, there's different things that you mentioned. And for example, on LinkedIn, right. I network a lot on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And I noticed that on LinkedIn, things change just because of the technology. I mean, now we have the automatic chatbots and that. So a lot of people use that. Yeah. But for me, they use the wrong way, because they contact you and immediately they try to sell something.
Yes.
That's not I mean, when somebody tries to tell me something immediately, I say, I don't want to see you around me. That's not, you don't even know if I need your service. You don't even know what I do. And then immediately you want to sell. So really the networking, it's a much better approach. It takes longer to get to the sales because it doesn't mean that we will never sell anything. It takes a little longer, but then you have a much better relationship with people, whether you do a partnership with them or whether you become the clients or they become your clients.
Right. And I find that when you, especially since LinkedIn is the social media site that most nearly emulates the way we understand networking with people or business networking, that messaging system is, people are, as you said, they pull the trigger a little too quickly without taking time to develop a relationship. And I think on social media, it takes a little bit longer to develop a relationship. People have to have a little bit more patience. But part of that too is that it should, like I said, having a conversation. You know, we use Zoom a lot. I'm always open to people that may approach me. You know, even if it sounds a little salesy when they do that, I use that approach because talking to someone on the phone or having a video conversation is the next best thing to be in there. The other part is it's a very good technique because it lets you know how sincere someone is about really adding value, bringing something in, really having a conversation. I'm going to say 10 times that I've said to people, I'm open, let's have a discussion. I'd like to see you on Zoom. Maybe one or two people go, okay, and they'll click on the link and they'll set up a schedule. They can peek into my calendar and they can set that up then. But that saves a lot of time also, so that you get the idea about who's, like you said before, you know, our network and adding value to each other, who's really sincere about it, developing a relationship. And that conversation is only, because it's a start. You know, you have to still, with lots of people I'm still having conversations with that I met last year. You know, we haven't done any business together. We have exchanged a couple of referrals, but that's part of that process with doing that. It takes a little bit of time. People have to be patient.
I do a lot of what I call the virtual coffee. I mean, it's funny because I used to use the term virtual coffee like 15 years ago when I was networking on LinkedIn. And I stopped for the last few years. I have to say I was more on Facebook than on LinkedIn. And then when I decided to go back, I said, oh, people still use the virtual coffee. So let's continue. And now we do the virtual coffee on Zoom.
That's right.
We have
now it's more.
And then we see if it's match or if we have something in common, and then we can have another call, and then you know, we can be invited in our interview or podcast or refer people, or say, like I have a lot of people who, when they give me a referral, that's for something that I need, that I get the thing much faster. I don't have to look everywhere to look for exactly what I'm looking for. So
and
how do you, sorry, go ahead.
No, go right ahead. Go.
I was wondering how do you match the networking, because you do a lot, with your business, savvy entrepreneur. How you do bring the networking into your business, and how you use networking to manage your business and get clients and help others?
That's actually a very good question. I think a lot of it still comes back to adding value. I focus more on how, and you mentioned it a couple of times too, connect a person that needs something with a person that has something. And that's how you build a reputation. You know, people don't always need the services that we provide. But Savvy Entrepreneur, we provide technology consulting services, and we also provide leadership development services as well. You know, but everyone may not need that. But I think that by adding value to people as you're having conversations, I ask a simple question in my business all the time when I meet someone that may be a potential client, and they'll say to me, "Hey, you know, we don't really need your service right now." I'm like, okay, no problem, Joe. Don't worry about it. But I said, tell me something that's going on in your business that maybe I can't help you, but I could put you in touch with someone that can resolve that issue for you. And you'd be surprised when you ask that question that it starts that conversation. I said, oh, I never thought about that, because, you know, then people come in and they're only focused on what it is that they want. But I'm saying if you add value, and you'd be surprised how often it goes into something else. And when you can connect people, you become that, I call that rainmaker, not a go-to person, but a rainmaker that says, that's the person I want. And I think that's how you become the center of your network, by doing that. And I think that that's important. And that's how you build businesses built. People, I've had contracts come back around because people remembered me and what I did in terms of just making those connections with people, with doing stuff. And most of over this period of time now, my business is really just a referral business. I
Mhm.
don't have to do any advertising for the most part. It's really word of mouth, which, you can't replace that type of advertising for doing things. And it takes a little bit of time to do that. People have to be patient, but the focus has to be on, when we meet in person at an event, it has to be, people ask questions like, when you do that, you're adding value because you're interested. It's about being interested in people, not trying to be interesting, nobody cares about that. They want you to be able to, what can you do for me? Everyone tunes into the same radio station around the world, WIIFM. What's in it for me? And by adding value and doing that referral thing, always about how can I help you? What is it that I can do for you? I don't want to be the be all and end all, but if I can put people in touch and make that connection with people, then I'm good. I don't have to benefit each time from doing that, though. But I use any excuse really to keep my name in front of people or our company's name by just doing those things, checking in on people. If I refer someone, I check the quality assurance too to say, did this person help you out? Did they give you good value for it? Though, when there's an issue, like, oh yeah, or they could give me feedback to let me know that. I'll know what I need. I can, refer that person again or not because you want to follow up. But it's also an excuse to have another conversation with them also.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the profile of the clients you're working for? The profiles.
Oh, the clients that I work
Yeah,
with,
you work with?
it's been I'm going to say a wide variety. They had a lot of banking clients in the finance business, corporations, technology companies, because we're naturally in the technology arena, which lends itself to really take us. And we've worked with law firms, even paper companies. But as you're asking me that, I'm thinking about it, like insurance companies, nonprofits. But I think, it's come to what I just said a few minutes ago, because of that adding value and connecting people, that it's taking me, I can't say that we focus or specialize in a particular industry other than, yes, we focus on technology services. And what I mean by that is we kind of all consultant based. And when we say consultant based, I teach my consultants to say, you want to be in the education business, not in the selling business or trying to show off with your skills. Find out what the problem is. You try to resolve them. If you can't, we'll bring somebody else on the team that can. We make it a collaborative thing to teach them exactly. I'm teaching them the networking part of doing that, with that as well. But so we've had a wide variety of clients because of that, connecting and referral business. Just as you when you started off, when we first started the conversation about, this is about, being able to refer people and building up that consortium. My probably the most important thing that resource that I have, second to certainly people that are on the team and people that are in my circle, is my contact list. If I lose that or it goes away, it's like gold. You protect it. We have to protect our network too when we do those things. On LinkedIn, one of the things people ask for, they're asking for referrals or recommendation, or can you connect me to this person? And people have to be very careful about that when they make those referrals. And I think that's what lends itself to branding, maintaining your reputation. You have to find out from the person, what is it that you want to find out, from that person? What is it you want to, if you want to have a conversation, but, you can't let people go on fishing trips either to say, if they're looking for a job, because as a community service, we do a lot of career management, helping people find jobs. And that's more of a community service with doing things. But you have to protect your network in a certain way to just not refer just anyone. It's got to be, and they have to bring some value have to have a value proposition. And we have to find that out before we even make the connection. Because if it goes bad, it messes up our reputation with that very valuable person that we spend 10 years to develop a relationship, and in 10 minutes it goes away.
How would you say that your business eventually changed, or the relationship or the networking changed due to what happened last year with the pandemic? Do you think that people still understand how to network? Because I spoke with a lot of people, they kind of get lost. They say, we can't go to networking events anymore. I don't know where to meet people. And for me, I found that beside the pandemic, but I thought it was not a bad thing, because now that we are most on Zoom, especially now where usually I'm in Miami, now I'm in France, I can still continue to network with people, because some people understand that we can continue to network exactly the same way through Zoom or others or on the phone. But some people get lost with that, and they have the feeling that they need to meet the people in person. What would you say to somebody who, they can't go to networking events because there's very few, and they're not sure how to go online because they don't know how to manage the conversation online? What
Right.
suggestion would you give them?
I think that was a transition, and it's about mindset. I think of what people think. Some, for the most part, yes, in person is always the best opportunities to do that, but we can still do the same exact things, accomplish and achieve our business goals with developing relationships. But even with that, people should have like a buddy system to refer to someone if they're not sure how to use the technology. If you're not sure how to leverage social media, then that's you. LinkedIn is one of those research libraries that people can use to just say, if you ask people questions and you make in your network, just ask for help. People be willing to help you. You don't have a person doesn't have to know everything about everything. If the person's an accountant but they don't know technology, don't know social media, then you know what? Reach out to your network. Ask for a referral. Do you know someone who might be able to spend 5 minutes with me to help me, learn how to use Zoom or make a connection or be able to have the conversation? I'm not sure the conversation starter is still the same thing. It's about asking questions. I think the most important question again that people can ask to just start the conversation is, how can I help you? What is it that you're looking to do? Like you just asked me a minute ago, you're like, what's an example of, like, the profile of some of the clients that you have? That's a conversation starter. But I think it's about mindset that we're still having personal, intimate conversations with people, and that still can be there. And we're doing it now using, video conferencing. And the thing is that we can do it more often. Heck, even with my family, I've seen them more often in the last year than I would normally see them. So, it's something as simple that people don't realize that technology is bringing us actually closer than we were before. Because if you had to travel to San Francisco or another city to go to a conference, you're like, I don't know if I really want to do that. You have to rethink things, a whole logistical thing. The logistics are very simple now. You can be in front of your computer and you can talk to anyone in the world. I can't tell you, last year, I probably talked to people in about 25 or 30 different countries over the last year, just again, starting those conversations with people.
So finally, and the same, we know each other for 17 years, because I moved to New York 17 years, but I moved then to Miami 13 years ago. So we haven't seen each other, but then we were on the phone sometime, and now we are on Zoom. So, which means we continue the relationship. And in a way, it's even easier to have like a global business now, because more people are, some of them are more willing to say, like the other day, I spoke from somebody from Ireland, then it's in the US, then it's in Canada. So it's a good time, I would say, to use that technology to open your business more global.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That, you're able to make those connections with people. It's just, to me, it seems much more easier now than it was before. I've always had that global mindset. I always tell people, you act local, but you think global in terms of doing stuff. And I think that between you and I, we've always had that. You were able to help me with when I was writing the book there, back and forth. I mean, we did that, via email or text message, or, is that simple to do that. And again, it's going to be people adjusting their mindset to say that this is easier. It actually is, but you ask for help, ask for people in your network to help you out, to help you do stuff. I use what I call the training wheel approach with people. I'm like, I'll get on the call with you if it makes it help you feel better. We can have a conversation with the person that's in your network. Who do you want to connect with? If you're not comfortable with the video conferencing, that's fine. Conference calls have been around for years too. People haven't maximized that. You don't want to look at the person. Okay, fine, that's fine. But it's to me, it just seems to be so much easier now to make connections, and then you can talk about expanding your network exponentially these days. That it couldn't be easier than it is now if people just extend themselves just a little bit, adjust their mindset to say this is going to be with us for a little while. We don't know when things are going to clear up, but there's no better time now for business. People can say what they want to say on the negative side, but business opportunities are abounding these days because of the fact that we can connect with people faster, easier, and the communication is at a higher level, probably higher than it's ever been. Zoom got on the map. Nobody heard of Zoom. I mean, I've been using my business partner. I've been using Zoom for quite a few years, but for the most part, nobody even knew who that was.
Suddenly everybody
that's something.
Discover what was Zoom, and now we have the feeling that even big companies, some big companies, they didn't use it. They wanted to have the people here at the office and do meetings and all that kind of thing, and now they realize that they don't need that. They don't need the office, and they left now they have plenty of companies who left the office. They don't want to rent the office because they realize that there's another way to do business. So it really changed.
Right.
The last year really changed the way people were doing business.
It was kind of ironic because companies were, for many years, they've been fighting that thing about working from home, whatever. They wanted you to be in the office. They've been doing that since like the 80s or 90s, and now they were forced to do it. But then they realized that they changed their mindset. They said, hey, you know what, we can actually save 35% on our overhead. We can redirect that money into R&D or some other project.
So we see the icon of social media behind you. What would you say? Do you think that there's one social media who is easier or best to do, to really network, to approach people, or would you say the same with all of them, or each of them have his specificity?
Every platform, and I talk a little bit about in the book too, is kind of like going to different countries, if you will. They each have similar cultures, but there's differences between them. Twitter's a little different than LinkedIn, only because of the method that you use to communicate. It's a very short burst of information with Twitter. What I recommend usually is pick one. LinkedIn is probably the best place to start if you're career-minded, business-minded, you're looking for financing, funding, whatever it is, or partners, whatever it is. LinkedIn is, and try to master that. Get good at it. And again, it's about asking people, how do you do this? How do you do that? Join some groups that can teach you these kinds of things on how to better use them. But one at a time. For me, I'm going to say my perspective: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the Facebook business page, and LinkedIn those are the ones that I work with. We have in the book that we cover a lot more of those, but one of the ones I've actually started using in the last couple of years, Quora. When you want to build your brand, build your name, Quora is a great place to answer and ask questions. LinkedIn is actually, it comes to that too, that when you want to get yourself out there asking questions, go joining those groups and asking questions and answering questions is a phenomenal way to really put yourself on the map. People get to know you. You get to stretch your stuff, your skills and your whatever technical things that in your space, whatever you're good at. So, but master one of them first, get good at one platform, and then move to another one. Don't try to be on all places at all times. I mean, when I first started to learn Twitter, it took me 6 months just to figure out how it actually worked. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to use it or not. So take your time, but pick one that you feel comfortable with and ask questions.
Yeah, same thing with me. I use mainly LinkedIn and Facebook, and I used to be on Twitter, and then I stopped. And Instagram, I never got it. I never really got the purpose of Instagram. But the fact that Instagram it's owned by Facebook. I mean, I invested a lot in my business for years. Like, for example, for 4 years, I was in the United States, not in France at all. And I got all of my clients in France and a French-speaking country from Facebook. But then suddenly everything changed, and then they don't show you page anymore, and then you have to change the business. So I said, well, if they do the same with Instagram, I don't want to go to Instagram. But I'm very consistent on LinkedIn and Facebook. So that's how I continue to get clients. Okay, so thank you very much. So would you be able to show your book again so people will be able to get it on Amazon? And mention the title again. I will mention it on underneath. But
it's 10 powerful networking tips using social media.
And I can tell you there's lot of information in it, and I learn a lot. And you have a lot of small information, things that we don't necessarily know. We know LinkedIn, we know this, but there's like few little things that I loved in your book, that the shortcut of something that allowed me to gain time a lot. So we don't have to spend hours and hours, because the same problem also with social media is a lot of people, yes, they spend too much time on social media compared to the conversion that they can get. So I really recommend your book. And is there anything you would like to say to end, for people to contact you, or whatever you want to say?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, and that's probably the first place to reach out to me. I'm Carl E. Reid on all platforms. You know, if you Google my name, that's everything will come up based on Carl E. Reid. And I will leave people with this.
CarlEReid.com also.
That's correct. You can come. I have a great video that's actually on my website, carlereid.com. It's called, the name of it is How to Leverage Your Network in Challenging Times. It's apropos for these times. It's just show people how to reflect and really exponentially leverage their network. It's very short, a very short video there, but really
you will send me the link, and I will post it under the video also, so people will be able to look at it also.
Okay.
So I can definitely recommend people to contact you, because again, I know that for years we were always there when I need something, when I have, if I have an advice, when I wrote a book, I ask you, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? You really a great person. So definitely I can refer people to you. Absolutely no problem. I can have my eyes closed and refer you to people. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for the compliment, but I want to make sure that we have, as we always have, a reciprocal relationship. I'm going to be watching each week, each of the connects interviews that you have, and I'll be sharing them out on all my social media real estate to promote whoever's talking, and you as well. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you very much. It was great to see you again, and see you especially at the beginning of the year. So I wish you all the best for 2021, to you and to the people who look at us. And if you are looking at us, so I remind you that I do the show, the Let's Connect, every week. Normally it's every Thursday on my page. When I don't have any technological problem, but it's every Thursday on the page. On the group also, you will be able to join the group Let's Connect, and you will see the link under. And then you will be able to sign up also if you want to make sure you don't want to miss anything. So you can say you have a link also to sign up to get all my information, tips, and network. And I really recommend all of the people that I know, all the people who have a great service, and all the people who are willing to help you. That's my goal with this series of interviews. So thank you very much. Thank you, Carl. And hope to see you at least on Zoom soon. Sorry?
Much continued success to you too.
Thank you very much. And to everybody, I see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.